Well, thank you. So basically, you want me to react to the SMART report, right?
Yes.
And well, my reaction is perhaps going to be seen as slightly emotional. I'm just jealous. That's what I am, okay? Because I think we did this paper on 10 ideas to change corporate governance to ensure sustainability. And Beate has actually done all the hard work. She provided the evidence that shows that I think we were spot on with this paper. And she also provided the language to actually transform that into legislation. So I'm terribly jealous, Beate. I'm sorry. Now, I suppose I still have to be a little bit critical or react to the report in a less emotional way. Well, I fully agree with you that sustainability is broader than climate. However, I think there is one difference that we should not forget with climate, which is that with the amount of carbon that we currently already have in the atmosphere, this is going to continue producing its damaging impact for years to come. So even if we would stop today emitting all this carbon, we would still have a significant problem. So climate is different in the sense that it is not as resilient as we would like it to be. And the time to act is pretty short. Another thing I was very impressed with in your report is that, yes, you mentioned the SDGs, like everybody else, I think, but you are spot on mentioning the planetary boundaries. And one of the problems I would personally have with the SDGs, which are wonderful, I can't see anyone disagreeing with the SDGs. That's already a sign that maybe there is something wrong.
Who would dare?
Who would dare? Sorry?
Who would dare?
Who would dare, exactly. But the problem we currently have is that I doubt, and there is some scientific research on that all the SDGs can be met within the planetary boundaries. So that is why I think you're really smart, if I may say, to have put the planetary boundaries as one of the parameters of the purpose of a company, the purpose of business. Maybe I would also add the 1.5 degree target of the Paris Agreement for what I just explained. The other problem I would have with the SDGs is the timeline, 2030. That's a long time away. We always talk about the long term, but the problem we have today is not a long-term problem. It's a short-term problem. And I was speaking at a similar conference not very long ago, but not with lawyers and accountants, with real people, with scientists. And I came out with the idea saying, oh, you know, there is this IPCC report of 2018 that basically gives us 10 years to act. And I saw a number of hands raising in the front rows where these scientists were seated. And they said, no, we don't. No, we don't. We don't have 10 years. We probably have something between 5 plus, okay, to really secure the climate, i.e. the livability of the planet. So I think that's what is important. So yes, the Commission is going in the right direction. And I think the new president seems to have great ambitions that we welcome. Sometimes I regret that Margaret Thatcher is not leading the Commission, because she would say that there is no alternative. And that's what we have today. It's not a choice. We have no alternative. So sustainability is possible. I agree. I would have preferred you say sustainability is necessary. I think it is just that we have no choice. I agree with, I'm not going to go into the technical details of the paper. I'm sure we can do that later on with the questions. But I fully agree. We need profit to keep companies running. But I think we need to maybe reflect on how we rank our priorities, because without planet and without people, there is no profit, okay? And it is, unfortunately, as simple as that. So I made plenty of scribbles on some of the proposals that we can discuss later on. But I would also suggest we don't only focus on shareholder primacy. There are a number of other things as well that prevents us from this necessary progress. I mean, one thing we never talk about is competition. I mean, the one thing that is always holding colleagues in the boardroom to do the right thing, or policymakers to do the right thing, is competition. That's what is holding up everybody from moving into a new space. And I just like to leave that thought with you, because I think what it shows is that the job we have to do today is rethink fundamentally all our basic assumptions. And we're not doing that because today we're having this very interesting conference, but we're still talking in a very business as usual mode. And we're just not measuring what we're confronted to. I think I will leave it at that because otherwise
Sorry,
I'm going to
when you say competition, you talk about the level playing field with the at international level. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what is preventing companies to take certain measures and change their business model and spend the money that needs to be spent to become sustainable. I'm talking about what is preventing policymakers to adopting public policies and regulation that will also go in this direction when they, and I'm sure we will hear that many times today, there is competition from China, there is competition from the US, and that is holding us up from acting. And I'm just taking that as one example, okay? But I could carry on with, for instance, all the externalities that we have, which also is basically screwing up the entire price system in markets. I could go on with the schizophrenia that we all have because we're not acting in the same consistent manner, depending as whether we are a director in the board, we're a consumer, we're a parent, we're a voter.
Citizen.
We have all these hats, and these hats are conflicting. And I think unless we start getting a little bit more consistent, we're going to continue going in a wall.
Okay, thank you very much for these very optimistic thoughts. Just kidding.